Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce you to this video. I will try to explain few stuff about web development related to the graph databases and why you should choose the graph database instead of traditional SQL databases. Uh, at first, I would like to say I am not an employee for any of graph databases companies. I am just a enthusiast. I really like to work with them. I work with graph databases for last few years. I made multiple projects with them, and it's really great. Also, it will be great if I say at first I am a person who created a PHP Bolt driver to communicate with graph databases. This specification was made by the Neo4j, and besides of them, the driver, the specification, the Bolt is used by the memgraph and Amazon Neptune. Yeah. For this driver, I also received a Graphy Award in 2021 as a most valuable player in ecosystems. Okay, why we should talk about the graph databases at all? Here at the DB Engines website, we can see the graph database Neo4j, which is most popular and probably most advanced at current market, is really high in the list of all these databases. It's really something because if you compare, it's like new and they are really high in this ranking. And if we go into the graph databases only, they are the first. And the Neo4j is a company who stands behind the category itself, graph databases, because they had really big movement towards claiming this category, and it was accepted by some international database organizations, or I don't know, before three years, maybe four. I'm not sure, but this company is responsible for what we have now, these graph databases and everything related to that. They are like the main company responsible for that. Their database is amazing. I was working with that database in my projects, but I have also some experiences with memgraph. They are here at 19th position. Uh, and the reasons why you should choose the graph database over SQL database like me is there's few reasons. One of the reasons is this database is very agile. The web development these days is also very agile, and the SQL database feels like petrified. It's like old. It's hard to modify something, and this is something what really helps you to be more agile in programming language because you have this agile database and you are working with that. Uh, Other great reason to use graph database is you don't have to specify the table structure like at the beginning, or you don't have to do these big changes over the database with alter tables and altering the keys between the tables, because you work with the graph scheme, and you can work with this graph scheme like you are working with no SQL. You are just working with the data or the relationships directly without any altering tables or something similar, which really simplifies the workflow of development. Of course, it can be dangerous at some point because some developers can do something really stupid and the database will accept this change because it has no specific scheme. But as a developers, we should do things like code reviews and similar stuff. We work in teams, and it's important if we keep the scheme unified. And I will show you later, or uh, after a few minutes, I will show you how to achieve that and how you can be really successful with Graph Database and using the scheme definition. And one reason why it's good to choose Graph Database and what I just described is really good for continuous deployment, because currently if you have SQL database and you make a change in database, you have to somehow alter the tables before you do the deployment, and you have to create some revision system for that. And I know many teams and companies had problems with that. There is some tools already which simplifies all this, but it's still not very like comfortable. And if we avoid doing this deployment thing with SQL, we can be agile this way. It's really great because you can do changes really fast, which is the point of being agile. And now I will tell you more about this scheme preparation and everything. I made this simple scheme for data. Probably you know what is a graph database already because you are looking on this video and you probably went from somewhere else and you already know something about graph databases. But if you don't know, the graph database is like NoSQL database with relationships between the documents, and each document is represented as a node, and you can make a relationship between these nodes. If you are more familiar to SQL, you can imagine this node as a table, and these properties like first name, last name, number, and higher at, it's like a columns of the table. And this is a simple scheme I made just before this video, and it shows you how the data can be related together. And what is really great, you can have also a properties on your relationships, which means if we have order and this order contains some products and we want some amount of each product, and the workshop is working on these products and is producing these products, we want to also mark how much products the workshop produced. And you can use that value directly in the relationship, which is like great. And if you create something like this document, it can be unique for your company and everybody can work with this scheme. And also, I'm using this Draw.io website for drawing these diagrams for my projects. There is also other tools you can use, but I really like this because you can work with revisions here, and you can mark the revisions here, and if somebody changed something, you can work with that and you know in which state you are of the database. And this scheme is really understandable for like anybody. If you have a product manager, the product manager can look at it and he will understand what's going on. many times if you have a scheme of SQL database, it's really many tables somehow related. There is this special signs like one to many and similar stuff, and usually not programmers not understanding this. But this way the scheme is really understandable for like anybody, which is great. And also it's really easily to extendable. You can scale this scheme because for example, if you want to add shipment into your product, this is maybe some like a product manager system for company, and you want to add a shipment system, you will have like inventory system or something. You just add more nodes. You add like a shipment, and you will have some properties. I don't know which one right now. Sorry. But it can be like date when you want to deliver or when it was created, and the shipment will contain some products. Shipped product. And this way we create new revision, and we will work with this in our development time, which is really great. This is like so easy because what we see here right now, this is what we have in database. We don't have to make like a step to recreate the tables by this scheme which somebody draw, because you can have like a meeting, somebody will draw this on whiteboard, and then you have to give this whiteboard to a programmer, and he will have to transfer this graph into the tables, SQL tables, which is time consuming, it's slow, and also if you want to put the changes back, if you want to reverse the changes back from the SQL database into this graph, it's problematic. But what we see here on this whiteboard, we have in database. There is no steps between. We just work directly with what we see. This is one of the best things what you can have with development. And this is also one of the reasons why everybody in web development should transfer into graph databases, because it simplifies the process of development. It makes it more understandable for everybody. I will be having more projects able to work with this Neo4j database, but I hope we can extend our PHP graph database community. Currently, it's mostly related to Neo4j. Our community is built upon my driver. This is the driver. It's open source. It's available on the GitHub, and it's really easy to use. There is also a PHP client. This PHP client implements the driver. It's built that upon this driver, this Bolt driver. This client contains more covers more stuff, like it handles bookmarks, clusters, and some other stuff. It's more like advanced in features, while the driver is low level. It's something very simple, and if you want to implement the Bolt communication into your project, is many times easier to use this if you want to make some specific implementations. We also have in our community, we are working on Symfony library and NeoEloquent. It's for Laravel. I will show you. It's this. It's for Laravel. It's in the process of development. I think it's currently some stable version. I'm not following because I'm not using Laravel, but Hopefully it will work with Laravel without any issue. If you want to start with PHP and Neo4j development, this is the community, this is the tools you will be using. We are taking care of them, and if you need, I have also a complete guide how to use the Neo4j with the Bold library. And also you can use the Bold library for communication with memgraph and the Amazon Neptune. But honestly, I didn't try the Amazon Neptune because I don't have access to that database. I'm not sure if they have free version. I wasn't looking, but it works with the memgraph. I was testing that, but there is a few small issues, and they will be solved soon. But it works. The main communication, everything works. It's not a problem. And I will put a link for this into the description or for all the materials you will need. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you will try at least Neo4j. You will try the graph databases. You will move into the world of graph databases. And if you need any help, just message us on the GitHub or anywhere where you can find our contact. We are trying to build the community. We are trying to help the community. Just go on and try it for yourself, and you will see how great it is. Thanks for watching.